Good afternoon, guys. Thank you so much for hopping back on. I am Erma. If you're new here, welcome. So glad you joined me this afternoon. I will be sharing a bit about my health journey today, and kind of when I went through that time when I could have passed away. I am very thankful to be alive today and doing well. I have two running businesses that are thriving, and I started my YouTube journey just more recently, and it's doing well now, and so thankful to even be alive first off. And I think so thankful that God gave me a second opportunity, a second chance at life. So this started back in 2010. I was 16 years old, and I was diagnosed with Epstein-Barr virus. And so this was at a time when I was just started with the youth group, and we were having church at our place. We were Amish, and so we had church at our place, and we were getting ready for church. I was mom's helper at home, so there was every corner, like literally every corner of the house and the shop got cleaned. So very busy time, and always a lot of, I want to say stressful, or under quite a bit of pressure to have everything done. And I loved working with mom and doing housework and so forth, but I did not really take a lot of vitamins at that time. I don't remember ever really taking anything consistently. But when I got sick, I didn't. Mom always had a lot of home remedies, and we tried all kinds of stuff, and it didn't help. Saw a doctor, took stuff, and it was just, I didn't get better. And then we had church at our place, and I remember on the day of the church, we had my sister's baptismal services at our place, and then the evening we had the youth group, and we had the youth group at our place. And I remember in the afternoon I lay down because my stomach wasn't feeling well. I was just so exhausted and fatigued. I lay down, took a nap, pushed through the evening, but then the following week, like, it was just my system crashed. All of a sudden I couldn't stop, and I just expected to get better. You always get better, right? I would take vitamins, mom's herb things, the things we had on hand. And I remember one of the following Sundays I was at church, and my best friend was there, and she was like, "Are you taking your vitamins and stuff?" And I didn't respond because I wanted to cry. Like, I was just so tired, and I was just weak. In 2012, I was diagnosed with Lyme's disease. At that point, the pain was just very debilitating. That went through my muscles and it went through my brain. It went through all, like, kind of I wouldn't say in circles, but throughout my body. It changed in different places. And unfortunately, I was just in pain 24/7. I was not able to do much. I remember I was almost not able to get a spoon to my mouth at one point, just being so weak and so not well. And finally, I saw all kinds of different doctors. There were medical doctor there. There was a medical doctor that helped me. That was like, I took IV antibiotics and things through IV, and then it was also called chelation. I took a few different bags. And then they also had a little more natural things. So he was an MD doctor, but he had kind of a view of a little more natural. I saw a nutritionalist in there in those years for years. I saw all these different, but I went on juices for a while where I just drank carrot juice, and was just flat. I remember at that point, my sister and mom would always juice. We would have a juicer and juice stuff, and then I would take the juices. In 2014, I ended up in the ER due to constipation. Just had too many days of not using the bathroom, got constipated. And after doing a lot of tests and doing follow-up with specialists, they found that my gallbladder was not functioning well, and that was the cause of the constipation. I had adrenal fatigue, and I was just constantly just worn out. There were seasons there that I could go to church and use the chair. You know, in the Amish church, we had those hard backless benches that are like torture, right? And then there were a few times in there that I might have played volleyball, like a game or two, and then it was done. But for a big part, just maybe helped around the house a little bit, but that was kind of it. In 2015, we did MRIs, we did a lot of chiropractic adjustments and x-rays on my back because I had constant back pain. And at that point, there were so many questions. Is it still Lyme's? But some of the Lyme's showed clear at some point. Or exactly what is going on, we didn't know. There was chronic fatigue. I mean, 2017, I was diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome. Still in constant pain. I had acne. If you look at my bar, where on my, I don't know what it's called, profile, YouTube, the panel, whatever, you will see a photo, the second photo of me especially, but even in the first photo, I had terrible acne, a lot, just breakouts constantly, and my skin was not so nice. I always had a lot of skin issues, and I lost a lot of hair. At my longest point, I could almost sit on my hair. I come from a family of having long, thick hair. Some of my sister's hairs used to be angle length. My sister-in-law, which would not be blood related, she has angle length hair. And my little niece, who's 2 years old, has almost as thick hair as I do now. And I lost a lot of hair to where it was like shoulder length, barely, was kind of shoulder length, just very thin, lost a lot of hair. Adrenal fatigue was something I didn't understand it at the time, but then my adrenals completely failed in 2018. They completely burned out, and that is the worst. That is the worst feeling ever. I think that's the worst, miserable feeling. If you're familiar with adrenals help with your body temperature. They regulate that and the induction system that was really run down as well. That is what regulates your body temperature, stress. There's just so many things that the adrenals, and it was completely burned out and very, very miserable. And I couldn't feel, like I couldn't know what was very miserable at that point. And then I hit my lowest point of my heart giving issues. My heart would pump with an extra beat every now and then, and it made me extremely miserable. I knew we did tests, and there was what they would have, I forget the big word for it, but it basically every now and then it would it would not skip a beat, but be a faster beat every now and then, and it would just make me, after that, it would just exhaust me. And having my adrenals, and through a professional, he said that heart issue, there's one of two things. He said there's a weak muscle, heart muscle, that is weak, or I think the other one was, I don't want to say it for sure. I want to say nerves misfiring, but that's not the right one. That is a completely different thing there. I know there were two things that he said, but that is what it felt like. My heart muscle, there was a heart muscle that felt like it was weak, and then every now and then it would try to, do extra. And I knew with where my adrenals were at that I could have a heart attack anytime and I could pass away. And that reality hit me. That reality hit me. I was cold constantly. In the summer when it was warm, I was just hot. There was no sweating. There was no, my body I was just hot. Or then in the winter, if it was a little chilly, I was just cold. There was no in between. And I was just able to take care of myself. Barely that. I was very, very miserable, and this was right after, in 2018, which was sorry, I'm trying to figure out the time, but this was after, yes, this was about a year and a half or so after I left the Amish, and that was also a very, very stressful time for me. It was around that time that I had gotten excommunicated, was when some of this more started. I got excommunicated from my home church, and so there was a lot of things to work through and figure out with friends and with family, because up until then my family had accepted me super, super well, and all of a sudden I didn't know if it would change things. I didn't know how people were going to respond or react being I was excommunicated. And some people really did not accept me anymore. Some people didn't make a change. Some people, we had hard conversations, and it was, I remember just not even, like, I cared deep down. There were many tears because it was stressful, but at the same time I was so miserable with the adrenal failure that there was a part of me that just wanted to die because it was so miserable, and doctors didn't have answers for me. Doctors didn't know what to tell me. We tried medication after medication after medication, and many of the medications, I had all the side effects of them, but it didn't really seem to help at all. Sorry. And hang on just a minute. I was so miserable with the medications. My body never responded well to medications, but what else was there to try? We tried natural things, and some of the natural things did help to some extent. I just really had a low place, and I knew I needed to do something. But the question was what? Like, it felt like we had tried everything.